What's up, everybody? In this video, I'm going to be showing you how I automated my entire campaign creation process from creating the copy, creating the spin tags, adding the campaigns to Smartlead, having all of the different variations in the emails, updating the general settings, and so much more. Not to mention, we've got dashboards that help us stay on top of our tasks, letting us know when campaigns are overdue, letting us know how many campaigns we need to create on a client by client basis, letting us know once the campaigns are live, how they're performing against each other, and so much more. Let's dive in. So over here, we've got the campaign section, which has tasks. We've got analytics, and we've got a timeline and table view. So this is for later on, once the campaigns are live, we're able to see the departments, employees, and industries, all that stuff. But right now, we're going to focus on the tasks section, which is creating the tasks, right? So boom, we got a campaign over here. Let's create another one. And so we've got campaign 2. And so now we're going to get an assigned comment. And the assigned comment is going to say choose campaign playbook for every single person. And so typically, I'm not creating these campaigns manually like you just saw. I have an automation over here, which is create a new weekly task for the client. And so on a weekly basis, I get new tasks for clients so that I create campaigns on a recurring basis. When I onboard a client, we've got an onboarding process over here. And one of the steps here is create email campaigns. The moment I move the client to this stage, we're going to get 6 new tasks, which are 6 campaigns that we got to create for the client. And these campaigns are all going to have different clay tables, different emails, all that stuff, right? So let's dive in. We've got to choose a playbook. And so I'm going to choose a manual playbook, which is if I want to create this manually, we can do it. And there's a lot of benefits for doing it manually like this, as opposed to doing it manually from the actual tool. And the reason for that is 1, the Smartlead settings, 2, the spin tags, 3, the process, keeping track of it, all of that stuff, right? So boom, that's one. Let's do another one, which is the Apollo sequence. And so once I've got these, for manual playbooks, let me actually just do it. Boom. So let's actually do it. So let's go to the next status, which is generate campaign copy. This is going to trigger this automation right here, which is running now. So this automation right here is going to look at the campaign, the client, the playbooks, and then leverage ChatGPT to come up with the different emails. And so let me go over each of those components. So a client is going to have custom fields. And so the custom fields are going to be the company description, company value prop, company pain points. These are generated through a clay table during our onboarding process. And so once we onboard a client, we use Claygent, we use AI, we use LinkedIn search, all of these different things to determine what the client does. And then we use AI to come up with that stuff. And then during the onboarding process, there's going to be a section over here, which is modify company overview. Because this is AI generated, it's not always going to be perfect. And even if it's good, during that onboarding process, we may have learned some new key things that we can actually implement over here. So that's one. The playbooks is the next section. So playbooks, you can think of it as instructions for ChatGPT to come up with the emails. And so when we do this, we basically give it the playbook that we've chosen, which we've got a bunch over here, and then we ask it to leverage that to come up with an email. And I'll show you the automation in a second. And it comes up with subject line, which has different spin taxes, and then it comes up with this type of email over here. Now, it's not a perfect email, and I'll get into all of that later on. So, but you can modify it, right? Like if you look at it and it's like not perfect, you can modify it. It still gave you the structure to follow, right? Manual playbook, we moved it, nothing happened. And so what we would actually be doing in this section, we would be leveraging our own copywriting skills. And so, for example, I've got a document over here with a bunch of emails that we can leverage. And so like this normally takes so long to come up with the spin tags, talk to ChatGPT. Like this is just so much more organized. And so I would simply just paste that here. And once I paste it here, we're going to choose a subject line. Let's actually use the subject line that we got over here. So uh, we'll do scaling AI capabilities, whatever. Um, just like this, right? And so this is copy that I got from a copywriter. And whatever. Okay, let's actually, it doesn't really matter whether it's bold or not, doesn't matter. So the next step over here is creating the spin tax. And by the way, before I forget, generating the campaign copy, when we click on it, this is what it's doing. So it's looking at it. We've got here, help me create a draft. This is our company description, value prop, pain point, and follow these instructions. That's it. That's literally the prompt. And as long as the instructions are good, it's going to be good. So the biggest bottleneck is just making the instructions good. And so next thing is create copy spin tax. That's going to trigger this automation right here. So I have to back out over here, or it probably already ran, by the way. Okay, it looks like it's running right now. So boom, we've got all of that. And so now when we come back here, and we look at the emails, we can see that now it's spin tax. Like this was taking me so long, right? Because we've got a long Google Doc, and I have to come up with all of these different spin taxes and different things. It's annoying. And one other thing that I don't like about this copywriter is he uses first and then he uses name. So I'm gonna have a process that actually does some correcting and things like that. If Yeah, so I'm gonna have a process for that. So probably during this spin tax process, we modify that. But we've got the spin tax, it's ready to go. And then we've got this as well, which is also great. The one thing that it didn't do is it didn't spin tax the subject line. So I'll have to double check the prompt over there to figure out why that was the case. But we spin taxed it. And so the next thing we want to do in this, we want to basically move them to the next status. And so the next status is going to be manually create email variations. And so we're going to want to test different things at different times. And so, for example, I'm going to write this over here and simply just put this here. And I'm just going to make a bad email. It doesn't matter. So it's just like, hey, first name, we offer a 14-day risk-free trial. Boom, 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 boom. Let's do that. And then this one, let's A/B test the call to action. Right, so let's A/B test the call to action over here. And by the way, we can create up to 3 different emails. That's what I want to do, but obviously you can do more than that if you want. And then for this, I'm gonna do open to chat. So open to chat, and then we're gonna leave it at that. And then over here, I'm going to copy this again. And so the reason I manually create them, I think I mentioned it, is because I'm gonna want to test different things. And so I would rather just manually do it than have AI mess it up or whatever. Unless maybe it's possible. Maybe it's possible. Anyways, so that's it. We manually create that, and then the next status is going to be add campaign to Smart Lead. And so that is going to be this automation over here. So it's going to be send campaign copy to Smart Lead. And then this one, we're going to run it. So boom, add campaign. And by the way, I was just testing it before this to see whether it works. It did work. So let's refresh. It's already added, I think. So right now it's 7:15. So it just added them. But I want you guys to see it in action. I want you guys to see it in action. Um, doesn't matter. Does it matter? It works. So campaign 1 is over here. We're gonna open this. We can also open this to see, like, this is the one it created. So campaign 1, it only had one email, right? It only had one. The subject line, as you recall, was scaling AI capabilities, right? That was the subject line. We're gonna have to go into the prompt to see why it didn't spin tax that, but that's simple to do. And then we were testing shortening it. As you could see, it worked. It shortened it. And then for this one, if you recall, we had 2 emails, and then this was the content of the email. The second part was open to chat. As you recall, I changed that in this section over here, open to chat. And by the way, this ran into an error. As you can see, it ran into an error. It still worked, but there was an error, which I'll have to fix, which is why it's not in the export and import list. So I have SOPs for error management that we don't need to get into. So boom, we got that. It worked. And then this is that one. As you recall, I simply just shortened it. So I started it on the second sentence. And this is the other part, right? Why you would want to do it with this process as opposed to doing it manually is because why shouldn't don't track emails, optimize email deliverability, follow up patterns. All of this stuff is already done. Now, what's not done is the auto categorization. This we want to actually auto categorize, right? So we want to put all of these ones. And this I'm actually finishing up right here. So these two that you're seeing up here, these two I'm working on them right now. By the way, whatever, we don't have time to go into why the error happened, but basically I would just click on this, figure out why the error happened, and then we move on. And at this point we're going to have added the campaign over, and we simply need to export and import a list to the campaign. We also have the campaign URL, which has been added over here. It takes us directly into the campaign, and we've got the smart lead status. And so now this is what's giving us the analytics. And so we've got paused, archived, whatever, and we can keep track of all of those analytics here. We can keep track of the campaigns that are active by the client and all that stuff. Boom. So that's that. Next thing is the playbooks. So the playbooks, as I mentioned, these are created. These are instructions for ChatGPT. We want to create 50 active playbooks in our agency, and so we've created a system to help us do that. And so if I were to click on Apollo sequence, this is the new system for that. So it starts with here. We generate instructions based on the emails. And so let me actually show you what this looks like. And we go to the new playbook section. So this is where we have our tasks. And so if I ever come across any nice looking emails, any emails that look very interesting, I simply need to go here, right? So I come here, grab this email. It looks very interesting. Whether it's spin text, whether it's not, doesn't matter. We've got that taken care of. And then we simply need to add email. So let's do email. The client, let's set it up as inactive. And then playbook type is we're going to choose a playbook. This is going to be an email playbook. And obviously we can create playbooks for subsequences. We can create playbooks for other things, but the main one we're going to be focusing on in this video is that. So all I would need to do is simply paste that. Boom. That's it. And so if I have a follow-up that I can use, cool. If I don't, cool. We can still leverage these playbooks. And so now I would simply need to grab that, right? I would need to grab that and then go through the process, right? So generate the instructions, run playbook tests, create the clay tables, and all of that stuff. One thing that I totally forgot to mention, when we go back to the actual campaigns as we were creating them, these campaigns have as we're creating them, they have clay tables. So as you can see, the Afonto clay table, it has a clay table, and this is because it was an actual sequence. And so this sequence, what it basically did is it duplicated it using AI. So this is that. So it was created. Wait a minute. It was created 10 minutes ago, right? As you can see, 10 minutes ago, this is the Apollo sequence. And so what we're doing is we're duplicating this master campaign table, and the master campaign table basically has the first name, last name. It verifies the emails, enriches them, does all of that stuff. The basic things that we don't want to constantly have to set up over and over and over and over and over. Different formulas, different things. And then this is a waterfall enrichment that helps us find the company description, and then it adds it directly into SmartLead. And so if it was a simple playbook that we can just like simply add them and don't need any personalization, then cool, we can go. However, the Apollo sequence, right? So the Apollo sequence, when we go back to the playbooks over here and we go to the playbooks dashboard, the Apollo sequence is going to have a personalized first line. And so this, right, the second sentence is text personalization 1. This was reflected over here. And so if we were to go back to email 1.1, it would be text personalization 1. And so this is an AI first line. And so the Apollo sequence is going to have an AI first line. And if we were to go back to these different playbooks, as you can see, a lot of these have different things going on. Some of them are focusing on case studies. Some of them are focusing on whatever, right? And so these are all going to have different clay tables for different use cases that we can simply copy and paste. And the system, the automation that we leveraged copied it, so it went in the campaign playbooks, duplicated the clay table, and then moved it to the correct client folder. And that's it. So that's how we create campaigns in minutes. We're here. All of the campaigns are created. The Spintax, the copy, everything's done. That's it. Hope this was helpful for you guys. If you want any